My name is Yasmin Kafai. I'm a professor of learning sciences at the Graduate School of Education at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. So the electronic crafting projects are not so much about teaching students stitching. Involves a lot of problem solving and thinking about procedures and steps, which I think connect very closely to thinking about computing and procedures. But people usually kind of separate them out because the crafting happens, with textiles, with soft materials, which don't suggest anything on what we do in the engineering domain, which seems to be kind of more harder, artifacts which are encased in metal or fabric. So I think there's a material component, but there are also the artifacts themselves, which are being made.
A lot of the classrooms that we work in, which we're working in computer science classrooms, are not set up for crafting or for much physical work at all. A lot of the classroom work has become more abstract over the years. So when we bring in textiles, we have to create storage spaces, ways to get materials on the tables and off the tables. Teaching kids sewing takes a little patience, although most teachers say there is nothing like a classroom of 30 to 35 kids sewing. You can hear a pin drop, literally.
So I began designing a set of toolkits that would help other people work with electronics and textiles and fashion and craft and all of these domains. And initially I would build those toolkits by hand. SparkFun, of course, was a very different entity when I first approached Nate with collaborating on kind of turning my fabric prototypes into a commercial kit. One day, although I didn't know anyone there very well, I came with my textile circuit board and I kind of knocked on Nate's door and I said, I have an idea, could I talk to you about something? And he was like, sure, come in, sit down. I think he might have poured me a beer out of the beer keg in the office. I explained that I wanted his help in manufacturing and distributing some non-crazily labor-intensive version of these boards that I had built. And so we looked at it together and he said, oh yeah, I think this is something that I can totally do. And so he took my textile design and pretty quickly made a prototype board that he sent me. I think he called it the wearable flower. And so within, a week or so, we were off and running, and this was the start of a collaboration.
Technically, I think the biggest game changer with the LilyPad Arduino, they were the sewing holes. Because beginning sewers have a really hard time to coordinate all of this. And I think there are multiple components on why, working with the LilyPad and projects are very appealing. For one, if you think about it, it's a kind of tinkerability that you can kind of mess around and explore different things. The other nice thing is you can immediately kind of get feedback. So what you're making, if this is working or not, there's a kind of visibility, which is both, the thing you make, as well as if you try to make something blink in different patterns, if you try to kind of sense, you get immediate feedback. You can, do some quick prototyping. This kind of gets you into nice engineering practices. I think another part is also that you can make different things, So, when we're talking about accessorizing a t-shirt, making a jacket or dolls, the colors you can pick, the themes you can make, and I think that really speaks to learners of all ages, that they can kind of customize and personalize the project. And then there is another really important aspect. It's usable. You can take it home with you. Who's taking a robot home after a robotics competition? It goes maybe in a display case or it's disassembled. But these are usable. They're kind of very personal. They can become gifts for other people. And I don't think we have kind of really seen that facet in many other projects.
After LilyPad had been a commercial product for a few years, kind of stopping and looking at the community that had grown up around LilyPad, and just asking, like, who are these people? And in particular, is this community different from other electronics hobbyist communities? And it turned out that, yeah, it was really, really different. And being able to see that and document it felt really powerful, that it felt like LilyPad was actually like engaging people who probably wouldn't have engaged with technology or electronics or programming had the LilyPad not existed. That it seemed like the LilyPad was helping build in like really new communities of people who are playing with these tools.
I love what you might call the hybrid nature of e-textiles. One thing, so there's like computing and crafting and circuitry. And one thing that we found in looking at the kinds of problems that kids have in our research is that it's not just crafting, it's sewing combined with circuitry, right? So it's a different, conductive sewing is different than normal sewing. So a few things this does. One, if you have any prior crafting experience or any experience with electricity and circuitry or any experience with coding, those are handy and useful. So that's 3 domains that kids might be bringing in expertise from, maybe from home, maybe from another class they've had or something like that. So you just provided a lot of openings for kids to bring something that connects with them. 2, the problems are things that everyone has to learn something new. Most of us didn't grow up doing e-textiles. So the fact that it's not just sewing, it's conductive sewing is different. And then 3, when we frame this as a, so we always try to put the aesthetics first in the design. So we'll have kids draw out what they want to do, and often it's impossible, like my name in bling. But it's that transformation from their original ideas to what works and learning the skills, both programming skills and circuitry and crafting and all of those ways that those interweave together. Lots of mistakes come up, but in this context, because they're making something that they care about, or often for someone they care about, we find they're willing to persevere. So that's pretty neat.
Overall, it's been an incredibly wonderful journey with SparkFun, and so overall I would say it's been incredibly positive. It's been incredibly exciting and wonderful to kind of start this project small and have it grow in really exciting and fantastic ways.